Hi ladies and gents, this video will explain the process of how to scale a drawing from meters to millimeters in model space, as well as how to scale a drawing that is in meters in your layout. In front of me are two drawings. One drawing is in millimeters, and as you can see, the dimension there is 100,000 by 100,000, which is represents 100 meters. And the second drawing is in meters, and the dimensions there will say 100 by 100. And that's essentially how you would kind of also just check whether or not a drawing is in meters or millimeters. If you just check the dimension of a known distance. Typically, if you get a single digit, then that drawing will most likely be in meters. So, for instance, if you measure a parking lot, um, that is about 2.5 meters. So you either get a 3 meter digit or a 2.5 meter digit. And then if you measure the length of a parking bay in a drawing that is in millimeters, then you will get 2,500. So typically about 4 digits, 4 digits and above for a drawing that is in millimeters. So in terms of how to scale a drawing, so what we want to do is just to convert that drawing that is in meters and enlarge it so that it is the same size as the one in millimeters. The first thing you do is to do a selection window. So click left and drag right to select all your contents. When you do this in model space, it is always important that you check all your layers beforehand. Make sure that all your layers are switched on before you scale to avoid instances where you've scaled content and then later on when you switch on your layers you find that there are still items that were not scaled. So always make sure that all your layers are on. Select all your information and then type scale in your command bar. Hit enter, and then you need to specify a base point. You can either specify the center or any one of the corners. I'm just going to click the center in my instance, and then just follow the prompts in your command bar. It says specify scale factor. So I know that my drawing is currently in meters, so my scale factor will be 1,000. Press enter, and if you look at the drawings, you'll see that they are now the same size. So both are now in millimeters. So that is how you would scale a drawing from meters to millimeters. If you want to do the inverse, for whatever reason, in instances where you would like to kind of perhaps you're working with a survey and you want to resize your drawing to kind of fit a scenario where the drawing is in meters, then you would select the drawing again. So you do a selection window, click left and drag right, then type scale again, specify base point, and then just the scale factor in this instance will be 0.001. Enter, and that will convert your drawing back to meters. So if I just measure the distance now, you'll see that the drawing is back in meters. So the distance, as you can see there in the scale bar, says 100. Okay. And then next, we'll look at how to set a scale for a drawing that is in meters. So for all your default scales, they'll work just fine for a drawing that is in meters. So if I click on any one of those, it'll work just fine. But if I go to a drawing that is in meters, and I specify any of the default scales in AutoCAD, you will see that. So if I click on 1:100, you'll see that the drawing is rather small. So we need to create a custom scale that will work for this particular scenario where a drawing is in meters. And to do that, you click on you double click inside your viewport firstly, and then you click on your scale bar or scale of selected viewport on your status toggle at the bottom. Just click on that and then scroll down to custom. And then we're going to add a new scale. The scale I'm working with, the layout is currently at A1, and the scale I'm working with is 1 to 175. So that is the scale that works quite well for A1 size layout. Okay, so in a typical scenario where drawing is in millimeters, you would just put 1 for the paper units and then 175 for the drawing units. But in this case, because I'm working with a drawing that is in meters, then I need to divide that number by 1,000. And that will give me 0.175. Okay. The other thing you want to do is just to put in brackets the meters so that you can always distinguish between your normal scale and the one that is specifically created for meters, for a drawing that is in meters. So you just put in brackets meters, click OK, and you'll see now that this drawing that is in meters will fit perfectly into my A1 layout. Okay, so that is how you scale a drawing that is in meters in your layout space. What we want to do next is to just plot the coordinates for our existing trees. Just after you set your scale, just remember to lock your viewport. As you saw now, when I scroll in or out, then I lost the scale, so the drawing is no longer in the scale that I set previously. So what you always want to do is, after you've set your scale, just click on the padlock icon on your status bar. It will be to the left of that scale, the viewport scale. You'll see a padlock icon. Just click on that to make sure that your viewport is locked. So if ever you scroll in or out, then you will not lose your scale. Then just double click outside of your viewport, and then you wanna. It's better to just rather do your coordinates in your title block. So you'll just set up a table like what I've created, and then you'll have 3 columns: one for the tree number, one for the X value, and Y for the Y values. And then you will see on the survey drawing that each of the trees have a particular number allocated to them. So what you can do is just to double click inside your viewport, then go to the first tree, click on the inner circle, right click and say properties. Now if you scroll down to geometry, you will see there's a center X and a center Y value. So that refers to the center of that particular circle. And that gives you the X coordinate value. So you can just select that in your properties bar with your circle still selected, and hit Control C on your keyboard to copy the x coordinate, and then just go over to um, your coordinates table and just um, copy that value under your x column. Just copy that over there as well. And then next, I'm going to take the y value, Control C on my keyboard, escape, and go over to my y value, and that gives me the x and y values of that particular tree. And then lastly, what you can do is to just plot your layout. At this point, you would have then set your layout through page setup. You would have set that to A1. You would have added your title block and all the appropriate information as per the example provided. And then you can just go to the icon on the top left of your screen, go to print. The plotter can be set to DWG to PDF ideally, and then you just click on OK and just save. Save your file. Just make sure that you name it correctly. So assignment 1, student name and number, and then just save the file and submit both the PDF and the AutoCAD file. And that is it. You should then be familiar with how to scale a drawing from meters to millimeters in your model space, as well as how to scale a drawing that is in meters and set it up to scale in your layout space, and the process of how to go about plotting your coordinates, your x and y values for either objects within your model space. And that is it.